Good song. All right, cool.
Yes, hello everybody. Um, so there it goes.
Yep,
There
there it
we go.
goes. Now I can
Okay.
see myself. Now I
Yep.
can see my ugly ass mug.
All right. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I've got my beer open, and we are going to be talking with Paul here about his religious background, as well as some experiences that he had while he was growing up and everything, and then finally what got him to start questioning his beliefs and moving into atheism, and just moving on from there. Just a general backstory of the guy, because he's pretty fucking interesting if you don't know.
Eh,
um,
Interesting, loud, annoying. I don't know. Depending on how you want to call it.
all right, so let's start with the first, intro thing here. What religion did you grow up in?
Uh, I grew up Lutheran and also Catholic. My mom was Lutheran up until early teenage years. Up until I no, I'm sorry, up until about 10 years old, and then she joined the Catholic Church because she felt more at home there, more of a family there. So I grew up primarily Lutheran, and then it's about the time, yeah. I don't know, like about the time when you start to distinguish between fantasy and realities. When my mom switched over to Catholicism, so grew up with between mixture of those two, I'd say.
Now, of course, I grew up Catholic myself as well, and so I'm wondering, do you know much about the Lutheran sect of Christianity?
Uh, you know what? I know we had to learn a lot about it, but I've honestly forgotten a lot of it. I know the gist of it. I knew about Martin Luther because it was actually the funny thing is the school I went to was actually named after him, so they were big about Martin Luther. But I think because they were so big about him, I actually forgot most of what it was about. Out of like it's like fuck you, I don't want to know it anymore because you made me learn it type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, me growing up in the Catholic Church, there was a lot of that going on. I mean, I quite literally grew up in the Catholic Church, though, because I went to private school, private Catholic school. And, they pretty much force fed us, like, all of the religious crap. Like, we had textbooks that were religious textbooks, and we had a religious subject. And so, like, I know me,
Oh yeah.
whenever I moved out of it, and into public school, I was like, okay, well, where's the religion class? Like, what are we learning in that? And,
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that did throw me for a loop because I was in private school. Like I said, Lutheran. It was a Lutheran school, so I was at private school until oh gosh, I think third, yeah, third grade is when I went to public school finally, and that was quite a shock for me.
yeah, well, what was it? What was the most shocking thing? Would you say?
The most shocking thing was the difference in how they were teaching everything because at the Lutheran school it was very very much about, of course, how God and religion was had a part in everything, and at public school they didn't impart that crap.
Yeah, I know when I got out, I found myself um, not really, not really noticing a big difference. I guess I wasn't shocked as far as all that goes because at the school that I went to, we of course learned everything like normal, and I want to say that in some aspects we were actually ahead of the curve as far as the public schools go. But I think that's more of a comment on the Alabama public school system rather than the Catholic teaching. Um,
Yeah. Oh, our school system is fucking horrible. I'm in Arizona, and yeah, we're bad. We're fucking one of the worst states in the country.
Well, okay, look, you are home to Fierstein, so yeah, I'd have to agree.
Oh my god, nah! Don't remind me that motherfucker is. Yeah, I'm sad that he comes from our state. I really wish that he would have been from Texas or something. You know. I mean, because you always have these type of fucking weirdos from Texas, but now you have, but yeah, he's from here, and god damn, is he stupid. Oh yeah, uh, yeah. Don't even get me started on that. Him is denying the gay marriage thing, right? In our state alone, he's saying, "Oh well, constitutional between a man and a woman," which is bullshit. And in our state alone, last year in October, which is probably why he's so fucking uppity and so upset, is the judge struck down it as being unconstitutional in our state, which again probably why he's so pissy. Fucking idiot. And then
I
he
like
somehow he forgets this. Somehow he fucking forgets this. Oh, it's like, well, he doesn't forget it. He's just a disingenuous cocksucker.
I like how you used uppity.
Oh, he thinks he's better. He has this holier than thou. Like, all right, I know I'm an asshole. I know, like I think I'm better than other people. Sure, I'll admit it. But he acts like his shit don't stink. He acts like he's okay. Of course, he's spreading the fucking word, right? But so he acts like whatever he's doing is right. He had no calling that bakery being a fucking idiot. Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that. He's showing off these horrible people and the discrimination against Christians. So whatever.
Yeah, uh, I have to say his boldness in doing that, and the fact that he's trying to compare it to denying a whole group of people like service altogether. It's like no, they were just
Right?
saying that they weren't going to put that shitty whatever he wanted on the cake.
Yeah, the obvious discrimination. It's like an obvious discrimination. He's like, oh, why aren't they taking it serious? Like, why would you? I mean, that's just like if someone called me up and asked me to put that on there, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm gonna call the cops, man.
Well, my wife actually she brought up some interesting points about this, and what she brought up was, is he going to advocate for somebody that goes into a cake shop like that and wants like some big old titties put on a cake? Is it discriminating against the porn industry because you don't want to put titties on a cake?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't understand the logic behind what he was trying to do there. Like he was trying so hard to make a point, trying so hard to look like he was like really making a point, and god damn did he miss. He really did. He just like fumbled it and bam fell into the end zone.
Yeah, he, yeah. I think the problem is though is that you're trying to find logic in anything that he does.
Yeah, yeah. That really is the problem, isn't it? Trying to find
Yes.
logic in what he does. Jesus Christ, man, that guy is special. Yeah.
Well, getting back on track here, did you have any unique experiences growing up? I know that you said that you were kind of half Lutheran, half Catholic kind of deal. I'm wondering, like, what was the dynamic between those two?
Well, it was interesting because look, I when my mom turned to the Catholic Church, I was already on the way out of religion. I've already questioned it. I already started to question whether God was real, whether the teachings were real. So I remember more of the Lutheran teachings that I had more, which was um, in my mind when I was young, it was more punishment. What am I going to do, or what's going to happen to me if I do something wrong? That was what's always drilled in my head is, if you do something wrong, God's going to punish you. If you do something wrong, the devil's going to get you. The big thing was the devil. The devil's constantly after your ass, right? Like the devil wants your soul. So the big thing was fear for me when I was in the Lutheran church. And that, I mean, as a young kid, I was thinking to myself, why the hell should I worship a deity when he's such an asshole? So when my mom was going to the Catholic church, I really wasn't. I didn't believe anymore. I was just going there because I enjoyed spending time with my mom. So the Catholic church, I don't remember much of it because I was tuning it out. I would go to mass and I would sleep. I'd honestly just sleep on my mom's lap instead. I'd just be there for the company, not for what the priest was spouting on the pulpit.
Yeah, just speaking from my own personal experiences being in a private Catholic school and being forced to go to mass twice a week, um, yeah, I found myself like I taught myself how to do the Vulcan hand sign. I taught myself how to go cross-eyed. It literally was like in one ear, out the other, and I would know exactly when like mass was about to be over. In the entire time, I would just be sitting there waiting to get to that point. I'm like, oh great, there's like 5 minutes left, and then we're leaving, and then it's Ryan's.
Yeah.
Ryan's is a buffet place that was around here.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, there was a certain point when you just knew the mass was about to be over, and you're like, "Oh, oh, sweet. All right, got to straighten up. All right, got to. Now it's
Yeah.
time to leave." Yeah, that was my thing. Like, here in Arizona, there was a restaurant called Hula Hands, um, and it started as a tradition. After church one day, it was raining, and my mom took me out to lunch at the restaurant Hula Hands, and it just started that way. We'd go there after. Church on Sunday, just my mom and I.
That's cool. Me, we always met with other family because at the Catholic Church it was like a whole family affair, and so like every day after church we'd go and we'd eat at this buffet place, and we would spend time with family, and that I really
Yeah.
like that. I really like spending time with my family and whatnot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, that's one of the best parts about it. But that was the weirdest thing, right? My mom said that she felt more at home, more at a family in the Catholic Church. But we never. I don't. Growing up, I don't think we ever had friends really. Well, friends like we had one family friend. That's it. That's all I remember. But it was never. It wasn't during the Catholic Church time. It was from before then. Childhood friend of my sister or whatever. So the whole like more at home, more family thing. I never saw it because we never went and did anything with other families, which was kind of weird to me. But uh, my family didn't really interact with other people that much.
okay. See, I didn't have that luxury because like
Yeah.
everybody and their mother knew my grandparents because they would
Oh yeah.
what they'd do is they'd take in the Cuban immigrants that were coming in and they would give them a home and everything, and they were really good people about it. But that later on, like even into high school, my Spanish teachers, they would be like, oh yeah, I know you, you're Nell's son. That was my grandmother, and
Oh okay.
they would always know her from doing all that, and they'd always speak very highly of them. But like there was a
Right.
whole bunch of family shit that went on behind the scenes that they didn't know about. So I just kind of rolled my eyes about it. But yeah, so that was my experience. But growing up in the Lutheran church, did you like take part in any kind of activities like maybe like vacation Bible school or anything like that?
Oh yeah. We did the normal Sunday school, of course, and that's actually one of the things I remember the most is Sunday school. And again, with the fear thing, one of the things that stuck with me the most was this idea that the devil's gonna get me. On seriously, like I don't know why, but I have this clear memory of when I was in this the church I went to. They had the church and they had a house next to it and they had another house on the other side and they converted this one house into like an office building. So upstairs in one of the bedrooms they had like a pastor's study or some stuff and they would have the Bible study for young kids there too sometimes. And I remember being in that room and I remember thinking like some stupid thing, and I'm like, aha, devil can't get me. And then I started to really, really, really worry that no, he could get me. And like it started to actually um, get that like that really, really scared response, like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die type of thing. And that's man, that's one of the things that I remember the most about that. The only other like the group like the activities that we did, I remember um no, I don't remember doing group activities too. That's the thing. We never besides like Sunday school and stuff. I never did group activities, but when I was growing up, my family was poor too, so we didn't really uh join in with a lot of activities too.
Okay. Um. So I
I
take
mean,
it then
yeah.
that I take it then that you really didn't have a role in the church or anything like that. You were just kind of
No, no. Oh no, no. By the time I would have gotten to that where I would have done maybe communion and gone through all the classes and everything at Catholic Church, I was already out of it. No, there's no way I was going to go through that. My sisters I believe they went through it. if I can remember correctly. But no, there was no way I was going to go through all that. I had no role in the church. I was never any type of I was never involved in any type of clergy, any of the roles there. No, never.
Um, uh, you know, what really got you questioning your faith? I know that probably happened either before you transitioned out of Lutheranism into Catholicism, but what really got your mind working about that?
I keep mentioning that fear, and that's the biggest thing that stuck with me is that the the idea that this thing's gonna get me, that I'm gonna be that God is gonna allow the devil to get me, and God wouldn't protect me, or the devil could get me, and all those things like that. That really bothered me, but I didn't realize like all the tricks that the evangelical preachers and the apologetics or the Christian apologists do, like the fossils, the dinosaur fossils are fake. The this evidence isn't real because it contradicts the Bible, etc. I actually was told that by my mom. One thing I remember very clearly, I was young. I loved Jurassic Park, right? So I asked my mom, well, how can the dinosaurs be real? How can they be millions of years old when, the Bible says they were only 6,000 years old, and, it traces back all this stuff between, it supposedly traces back all the things. And hello, mama. Sorry about that. Uh, and she said to me that God put the fossils in the earth with age to test us. And I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. That's not possible. How? What? Why would he do that? What rational reason would there be behind that? And so I started to question, well, why the hell would they do that type of trickery and shit? And so I started to look at what the the true facts of things are, instead of what they were trying to tell me from the pulpit or from teachings in scripture.
Okay. Um, what were you like vocal? Like I know that you said that you had kind of been asking your mom, but uh, did you really express it to anybody else that you were questioning?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My mom, the response was that she raised me better than that, with better morals than that. The normal response, and that hurt at first. And so it's like, you're trying to deny that I could have possibly be thinking myself and possibly come to this conclusion, like somehow, she raised me better than to be an atheist, which is just a fucking horrible thing to say. And that actually made me even worse, because it's like, all right, not getting into too many details, but my family, my mom, very hypocritical in the Christian beliefs. Believing in the Ten Commandments, believing in certain ways that morality is supposed to be, and then what they would actually do is, of course, completely opposite. So it's like, well, you're preaching to me that I'm supposed to be this certain way. I'm supposed to live this code, and I'm supposed to follow this, and I'm supposed to follow this deity. And while the time you're not doing it, and it's like pick and choose. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and choose none of it. Then I don't need the superstition. I don't need the bullshit. I don't need the guilt. And I was very vocal about it. Yeah, I think my parents, my mom and my especially my stepfather, growing up, they probably weren't too happy with the fact that I was an atheist.
And about how old were you when you started questioning and being vocal?
10, 11 years old.
Oh wow, that must have been
Yeah.
hard, like dealing with your parents not being too happy about it and everything like that. I mean, what what,
Yeah.
what was that what was that like growing up in a house, with that kind of looming over your head?
When I first was questioning, I didn't push it too much. It was more of like, because the blowback, right, the immediate pushback was, well, I raised you better than that. I'm like, okay, well, okay. So I didn't push it too much, but as they were trying to be more, force more and more, like, this is what you're supposed to be as a Christian. I would be, well, I'm not, I don't believe that. And this, they start tacking on the supernatural thing, or God this, or God has a plan, or God wills it, or God this, or put your faith in God, pray, and all that stuff, right? And I would be like, well, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm not doing that.
Okay. Um, so even at that young of an age, what motivated you to admit that you were an atheist at that
Uh, the um, one of my oldest friends, I met him when I was young then, and he was a mentor to me. And I would talk about some of the stuff that would go on with when I go to church with my mom, or just some of the things I was thinking. And one day he says to me, You don't really believe that shit, do you? You don't really fucking believe in God, do you?" And it was more of that front you put on to keep cool with everyone, to not rock the boat. You're like, you for a while, you're like, I'll go along with it. I don't really believe it would, but I'm not going to be vocal about it because it's not worth it or anything. But my friend, he when he asked me that question, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I really don't believe this shit, and there's no use in trying to pretend to people that I do, and especially trying to just appease my family to make them feel okay about it.
What was the reaction like? Like I know that you're, with your immediate family, they didn't react too kindly to you being. I mean, like from friends or extended family. What were their reactions like?
Extended family doesn't know too much. We're not we're not close really. My extended family, on my dad's side, my mom's side, they're up in Canada. So, plus the fun thing is my mom's dad was actually a preacher, so they're all pretty religious. So I don't play it up with them because they're very nice people, and I don't purposely be an asshole, So when they don't push it on me, I don't push it on them, pretty much. Um, I'm sure they know I'm an atheist, but I don't try to preach to them because they don't try to preach to me. My other side of the family, my dad's side, they're interesting people, so I don't talk to them as much as possible. Uh, so for my family, there wasn't much more black except for close family. But my oldest sister, she's not. I don't think she really believes, so she didn't give a shit. My middle sister, she's very heavily religious, but um, I'm. It's like I love her, and I'll do anything for her, but I'm not gonna compromise what I believe just to make her happy too. Because I mean, she's a great person, and I wouldn't be here for her honestly. But I'm not uh, I'm not going along with the fantasy just to make other people happy.
Yeah, and I
Unfortunately.
mean, I would highly suggest anybody not do that, but I understand, at the same time that some people feel like they need to or have to due to,
Yeah.
like monetary
Oh yeah.
situations and whatnot, which I
Yeah.
think is kind of.
I was never in jeopardy of that, so I was lucky that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of crappy that that has to be like the fact that you got to take, well, if I do this, am I going to get tossed out on my ass and have nowhere to go basically.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people run that risk.
Yeah. That's
But
the horrible thing about ideologies, isn't it?
oh yes, and I'm really glad that you didn't have that kind of looming over your head because especially at the age that you were. Uh, uh,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
um, yeah, that just would have been horrible. So,
Yeah, that
um,
would. Yeah, I would have been one of the oh Jesus, what hundreds of thousands of men, young adolescent boys who are in the streets.
yeah. Um, so what was it like, finally admitting, to everybody that you were an atheist? Like, I know for me, it felt like a huge burden had been lifted off of me, and I felt like I could actually be myself. Was it similar for you, or was it different?
No, it was actually pretty similar to me. When I was able to finally stop pretending that I believed at all, like pretending that I believed in any of the mumbo jumbo they're teaching, any of the scripture, any of the doctrine they try to teach, it was very no, it was very freeing because I no longer had to um, I I no longer had to follow like the what I was finding more and more be immoral teachings. I no longer had to I no longer had to follow the teachings of someone else who thought they knew how to live the better life, and most of the times they were wrong. It was just like really wrong in the advice they were giving. So,
Okay. Um, what was your attitude coming out of religion? Like, did you go through the phase of being an angry atheist, or
I think I still
were you
am.
kind of you still am? You are?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I probably still no. I'm what they would say. I'm an angry atheist because I do react. I react. Yeah, I react quite angrily towards what I perceive to be stupidity on the part of religion. And when people cling into ancient Bronze Age beliefs, I don't like it when they do that over uh, thinking more rationally, thinking more skeptically, thinking about things from a logical, scientific approach. I get really upset because people are sticking to that old bullshit belief when they're denying what's right in front of them. I get upset about that. I get upset about other things like that. I'm probably still an angry atheist, but I'm trying to temper it more into not being the explosive reaction, but more of the simmering anger that you use as a tool to kind of take down stupidity.
That's good. I know for me personally, I haven't really. I wouldn't classify myself as an angry atheist. I was very angry at first, and it wasn't. I wasn't angry, because a lot of people like to put out there the idea that atheists are angry because, either they hate God or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And that's of course totally totally wrong.
Oh yeah.
But
No. I've always been like this. I mean, you can see my facial hair. It's kind of it's a stereotype of redheads, right? It's a stereotype of gingers to have hot temperatures. I mean, so I'm guilty of that, unfortunately, and it's all facets of life. It's not just atheism, you know.
yeah. And for me personally, what I've been focusing on is curtailing it to specific situations that I feel call for such anger, and emotion,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's just like you were saying that it mainly concerns stupidity, but like I guess for me it's very specific kind of stupidity because I mean
Yeah.
if you're stupidly, like for instance just recently, if you're calling me a fool on the street, and you're expecting and you're sitting there saying, oh no, I'm not calling you a fool, God's calling you a fool, you're not going to get the best reaction out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. You're trying to. That's one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest things I have with problems I have with the religion is that people use it as a way to scapegoat their responsibility and shit too. Yeah, I don't hate the person. It's mandated by God for me to hate them. What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. Well,
And I think sticks of Kansas is right. Frustrated atheist probably would be the better word, not angry, frustrated, angry atheist. I get very frustrated with the way things are. Like yeah, when you have obvious like when you point out obvious fucking problems and people are like, well, no big deal. It's come on.
yeah. And I agree with Sticks. Is that I guess frustrated would be a much better way to describe it. But if you could impart any certain knowledge on an atheist that might be watching that wants to own his atheism basically. I mean, what kind of advice can you give them?
You know, when I was in high school, I was very vocal about what I thought because people around me were very vocal about what they thought. So I would say, don't let people try to shame you into betraying what you feel and what you believe, or feel and believe. God damn, those stupid ass words that people use all the time, right? Don't let it. I'm sorry. Don't let it betray what you feel you are as a person, who you are, what you've come to believe. Don't let them try to shame you into thinking differently because that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to shame you. They're going to try to mock you. They're going to try to do the normal tricks of apostates. And I say just don't let them. just don't self censor to appease these people when they won't self censor, sorry, to appease you. When they couldn't give a fuck about you, but it's all about whether or not it hurts them. And that's really, you can't live your life worrying about whether or not what you say and what you do is going to offend someone or is going to hurt someone else. That's on them whether they take offense or whether they get hurt by it. Uh, don't curtail who you are and what you're saying because of some other people.
Yeah, I think that's very solid advice, and I suggest anybody, taking that, even if they're not, even if they've already come out as an atheist, I wouldn't stand idly by, and do something just to appease another person. I mean, if they don't like me or my opinions, then maybe they shouldn't talk to me, kind of deal.
Yeah,
Um,
and I always think that there should be a free exchange of ideas, right? I don't like a lot of the right wing people. I honestly admit it. I don't like a lot of the extreme left wing people too. I'll admit that too. I'll still listen to them. I'll still listen to their ideas, and then I'll say where they're wrong or where they might be right. I don't agree with everyone's stance on everything, and I agree with some things on something. Like Alex Jones is a complete fucking nut job, but he also has moments of clarity, just like Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson's a fucking nut job, but he has moments of clarity.
Yeah, I have to say, one of the best times of 2014 was when Pat Robertson actually came out and said, "Hey, Ken Ham, you're making us look bad,
Right?
dude."
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? What
Yeah,
you've done bad when Pat Robertson is calling you out for being like too out there.
yeah, I know, right? So what was the dynamic like, between you being religious and then you not being religious? Like, I mean, what was it like between those 2 points in your life?
Honestly, it was like so young when I was really religious and when I actually believed that I can't remember the difference between the two because you're so young. You depend on your parents. There's nothing. I mean, I can't remember honestly any difference since I haven't believed from such a young time.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't expect you to. I mean, I
Yeah,
know for
sorry.
me,
Childhood memory is kind of fuzzy.
yeah. I know for me, I can't. The one of the big differences for me, at least, is that I don't find myself struggling to fit in any certain place. Like I feel freer to be myself and really express
Yes.
myself. And
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
yeah, and when I was coming out of religion, like it wasn't like a steady downward fall. It had a lot of bumps in there because and the bumps were me trying to be religious because I'm here in North Alabama, and if you're not part of some kind of church organization or some kind of youth group or something like that, you don't have a lot of friends, and
Yeah.
so it was more of a thing about me trying to fit in, and
The social aspect of everything, right? Yeah, I
yeah,
mean that's another way that they will control is that they'll use that social aspect. If you that perfect way to keep because human beings are such social animals, you need that connection. It's a perfect way to keep people hooked, or at least keep people there, even if they don't really believe, because they want that connection with other people.
yeah. And I was just thinking of some of those times when I was really struggling to be a good Christian boy. And I remember going to a church
Yeah.
with a friend of mine. And it was kind of a rough time in my life. I was having a lot of problems with like my parents and whatnot. And it's not that I was a bad kid. I was actually really, really good compared to a lot of other people. But
Yeah.
I would force myself to go to these churches and these these church gatherings, and I would go there. And I remember one time the guy up front was like, "All right, if you're struggling in your life, raise your hand." And I was like, "Okay, well, yeah, I'm kind of struggling a little bit." He's like, "Well, come up here and pray." And I'm just like, "I'm good."
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't, I don't feel like doing that. And then, of course, they had seen me and they saw me not come up there, and so they were like, "Hey, why didn't you go up there?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's not that big of a deal." And so what they did was they formed a prayer ring around me, and they put one hand on me, and then they prayed to God, and I was just sitting there like, oh God.
Just get it over with finally. All right, I believe. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, yeah, I don't I couldn't imagine growing up in that type of environment. Damn. That's horrible, man.
yeah. Well, and while I was still a Christian, I had went and saw that Jim Caviezel Christ, the Passion of the
Passion of
Christ.
the Christ.
Yeah, I went and
Yeah,
seen
that
that.
lovely
It,
movie.
yeah, except I went and I saw it alone, and I saw it at like
Okay.
midnight. And so I got cornered by these Christians after the movie, and they were like, God, place me on your row in the movie theater so that I could witness to you. And I'm like, okay, I already
Of
believe
course you
and
did,
everything.
sweetheart.
Yeah, they kept me there till 3 a.m.
Jesus
No
Christ.
shit. And they were talking, like, it was the entire time they were talking about Jesus and everything. And I was just like, yeah, okay. I don't want to offend you guys because you might kill me.
Right? Oh man. Holy shit.
uh, but I know that it was really young for you when you
Yeah.
switched and you came out, with your atheism. But do you feel like any certain thing changed for you as far as your personality or anything like that?
I I learned to accept my actions, my responsibilities for my own. I don't I've done a lot of stupid things in my life. I've fucked up a lot of things, and I know it's my fuck up. It's not on anyone else, and no one else is gonna right the situation. I have to do it myself, and I think it helped me a lot to realize that there's not this higher power that I can rely on. That if I pray to, somehow magically he's gonna intervene because I asked, even though he has a divine plan for me that's set up at a time. But I can pray for him to maybe change it, even though he's a supreme being that has all that stupid whatever. So I I I don't know. For me, it's better to know that everything I like, it's ultimately my responsibility. I have to take ultimate responsibility for my actions instead of trying to say someone else is responsible or someone else can take the burden of quote unquote sins off me.
Yeah, I see this particular aspect of it. I didn't really see much change when I finally admitted that I was an atheist. But that was because I kind of had like a good 3 or 4 year deconversion that was like in my mid
Oh,
20s, and so I had already kind of accepted the fact that it was all my doing, for that. But when I finally really put myself out there as an atheist and didn't really hide it anymore, uh, you know I didn't really I didn't feel any different. I didn't other than the fact that I felt a lot less guilty, and I felt like a huge weight had been lifted off of me.
yeah, yeah. You no longer have that guilt of that big daddy watching over you, watching every move you do, every move you make, and judging you if you do anything wrong. At least that's how I felt.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know I would. I can't tell you the number of times that I deleted all of my porn off my computer because I felt guilty because God had been watching me and I had been a bad
Yeah,
Christian.
yeah. That's that's one of the things I remember. The biggest things, yeah, is porn. Like I was so ashamed of sexuality, so ashamed that I would watch porn, and so ashamed that I was attracted to females. And then I it's I realized like there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being attracted to the human body in all forms. And that's what people don't realize too. It's like if you look at like say Adonis and things like that, the statues, the Greek statues, there's beauty in all human forms, right? So to not appreciate it is lacking in what makes us human.
I agree. Speaking of Christians in general, Is there any certain Christian argument that you feel is really overplayed or that really just grates on your nerves?
Pascal's wager pisses me off because it's like, well, just believe it just in case. Well, that's not a good reason to believe in a supreme being and believe in all this bullshit. All the baggage that comes along with believing in this supposedly omnipotent benevolent jackass. I No, I absolutely hate Pascal's wager. I think it's one of the weakest arguments they could ever use, and it gets trotted out so many times. Well, what in case you're wrong? What in case you're wrong? Okay, well, what if you're wrong? What if Ragnarok is actually going to happen? Right? What if Thor is actually going to come and fucking fighting all these people? What if you're wrong about that? What if my ancestors were right about the Norse mythology? Just shut up. Your mythology is no more true, no more accurate than their mythology was. And their mythology is better because it has more colorful stories, more fanciful stories, I should say. If you want to, if you're going to get into like deities and supreme beings, you got to look into the Roman, the Greek gods, the Norse gods, the Celtic gods, the ones that are actually have good, nice stories, not this like this weak shit. Oh, he went in there and he healed people, except he really didn't. They're trying to make him seem like he's this hippie great person when he's at the same time advocating violence and separation from your family, all this stuff. It's like, all right, if you want to have a good mythology, you got to have that nice fantasy epic to it, right?
Yeah. And to be honest, I love the meme that it has Thor on it, and he's like, "Your god was nailed to wood. My god has a hammer."
Yeah, I love any questions. I love that one. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Oh man. Um, but okay, and then kind of a contrary or the other side of that question is there any certain atheist argument that you think that is too that doesn't need to be used or you hate it when they use it?
I don't like when people start to sentence as an atheist, I believe this because it's the same type of shit as as a Christian, I feel this way, or as a Christian, I believe this. It's like no, atheism is just you do not believe in a deity, right? You don't believe that there are a god or gods. You don't tack this other shit. That's one of the biggest things I hated about atheism plus that debacle of a fucking shit stain on the internet. Uh, is that trying to tack other crap to it. All you are is an atheist. All this other stuff is this other stuff, right? Atheism is just atheism. It's trying to tack all this other shit on it because there are atheists who are not skeptical at all. At all. There are people who are, I mean, again, atheism plus is a great example of it. So I think that's one of the most overused things when people try to use, well, I'm an atheist, so I know better. That's just a statement on whether God or gods exist, right? It doesn't tell me anything else about it because you can be a fucking nut job and not believe that God exists.
Yeah, I agree. Um, and I was actually explaining this to a coworker the other day because they were spouting off a whole bunch of stuff that they didn't know about. As far as atheism and like the atheist community in general goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to put it in terms that they could understand, and so like, um, they were thinking that like you in order to justify a non-belief in a god, you had to tack on other things to it. And I was like, no, that's not right. You don't do that. And so in order to kind of speak their language, like I explained it to them like this: like Christianity is a set of beliefs. Like you say Christian, and that's kind of got a whole lot of baggage tacked onto it right there. I mean,
Exactly.
they've got a book and it tells them how to act and everything, and
Yeah, the actual teachings of the supposed man.
right. And so you've got this whole belief system that's kind of already set up with one word. Well, with atheism, that's just like one answer to one question in a set of beliefs, right? So it's whether or not you believe in God, atheism, no. And so I was like, a lot of times, in order to make a belief system or a set of beliefs resemble anything like what Christianity could be, you have to use other terms in order to in order to correctly explain your positions on things, and so that's kind of how I explain it. Like, it's not to justify the non-belief, but it's to more accurately describe your full set of beliefs. And so I think saying atheism plus is like an attempt to turn the word atheism into like Christian, but I mean you
Yeah.
can't do that because atheism is
No.
so diverse.
And then you're replacing an ideology with another ideology, which is never a fucking good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And with
I mean,
me being an
why would you go from adhering to one ideology that doesn't make sense to adhering to another ideology where, you know, if you question the quote unquote authorities of it, you get shamed and ostracized and called all names in the book.
exactly, and ah crap, I forgot where I was going with that one.
I have those
um,
headphone people sometimes. My
yeah,
rambling does that.
yeah. um,
Just
but
watch the Skeptic Fence show. You'll see Joe get upset. Yeah, oh God, Joe will get upset when I start doing that shit.
well, actually, you know what? Let's talk about the Skeptic Fence show a
All
little
right,
bit.
cool.
How did you come to be on the show exactly?
Well, when they were having when they had their little issue with the previous host, Matthew Steele, and I think Ned was it, who left. You know, Joe put out an ad looking for people who might want to co-host, and I responded saying that, you know, I was looking to get started into YouTube. I've been I've been on YouTube for a while. Uh, I watched TJ since he started, pretty much Amazing Atheist since he started and all this shit, right? I've seen other people start their channels, take off, put out the messages on things, and I started thinking to myself, well, you know what, I'm tired of this type of shit too, and I want to put out videos. I've done it slowly because you know, I second guess myself a lot when I put out the videos, and I shouldn't. But so I contacted Joe to try to get started and trying to, you know, get into the whole making videos, being on YouTube, not, you know, actually speaking to the public, I guess, and not and, you know, getting used to all that. So when Joe put out the ad, and I've already watched the show quite a bit, and when Joe put out the ad, I was like, you know what, this is perfect. If I can actually get the host spot, this would be great because I'll be on the, you know, I'll be on the show. I liked what Joe did in the past, so you know, when I got scooped up and was with myself, Joe, and TJ. It was awesome. Then we got Drew too, and fucking it's been amazing ever since. I really enjoy it. I think the last episode we had with Creationist Cat was one of the funnest episodes I've ever had.
Yeah, and I really hated the fact that I missed that one because you know I was
Oh
in
yeah,
Memphis and
yeah. Saw the
yeah,
videos though.
yeah, and but I really love watching the Skeptic Finch show live and interacting in the chat section, and
Yeah.
you know, especially because I'm actually doing an interview, a recorded interview with Creationist Cat tomorrow. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, and we're talking about some fun stuff. I but you know, I had actually kind of put it out there to Joe for me to be on the Skeptic Finch show as well. I was really iffy about it, so to be perfectly honest, I'm really glad that you got the spot because I mean you seem to mix really well with Joe and Coctopus, and I think that you guys just put on an amazing show every time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I like that. I didn't know that you had applied, but yeah, I wonder what it'd be like if you were on there instead of me. I'm glad I got the gig. I really do enjoy being on it. I think that we do play off well. Um, I think the we've gotten used to each other more now, so it's showing more, and we're better at doing the show. Um, I'm definitely loosening up more than I used to be. You can tell the difference in between how I used to be on previous shows and how I'm on the last one, the couple or the one before it. Yeah, it's getting into a good groove, and I really do enjoy it.
Yeah. Has there been any certain episode that has been your favorite so far?
My favorite so far, It's really hard to have a favorite because I honestly have enjoyed so many. I loved talking to David Fitzpatrick. That was just or not Fitzpatrick. Jesus Christ, that's Fitzpatrick scale is something I was thinking of. Something David Fitzgerald. I enjoyed talking to David Fitzgerald. He's a blast talking to him. Aaron Raw is great to speak to hang out with. Creationist Cat was fucking hilarious. That was just great. I really enjoyed talking to Lawrence Krauss too. It's just like it's hard to choose a favorite episode really.
Oh yeah, and I've actually gotten to interview David Fitzgerald a couple times, and I think that I'm actually going to be helping him out with a website here soon. So I'm crossing my fingers that he'll hire me on to do that. Uh, but yeah, I'd have to say David Fitzgerald is just a spectacular person in general, as well as Arn. And so far my interactions with Creationist Cat has been really really positive too. So um, for me, I don't have a specific like skeptic fence that I like. Because just like you said, I mean they're all really good and really engaging, especially with the live commenting section on the side. Um, and I'm really glad that YouTube actually implemented that for the live streams. I think that really does help, with everybody being able to communicate with each other. Um, but
Even though we use Vaughn. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, which the only thing that I don't like about Vaughn Live is that sometimes it either won't load or it just keeps crashing and I can't load the chat or I can't see the video or something like
Yeah, that damn chat is like one of the worst things ever. But when it actually works, it's awesome because then the shows are great. But it's always like every single time there's always there. It's like, all right, is the chat gonna screw up now? It's gonna screw. Oh, there it goes, son of a.
that. All right, so into a little bit less serious portion to round off the interview tonight. If you don't know, they are actually making a God's Not Dead 2. So
Really.
I'm wondering, what do you think the storyline could be for that?
Some equally pathetic storyline to the first one. They're probably just trying to raise money for that guy who has cancer. Because even though God is all powerful, it will take modern medicine to try to heal the man, and that costs money.
Of course. Which, just to
I'm
put this,
sorry. I don't. I know that I don't. I'm not too familiar with the actual storyline of it. I know it's a horrible fucking movie, but the actual like the whole storyline I'm not too familiar with, and I don't know how they could top such stupidity that I've actually like the bits and pieces that I do know about it. Like how could they possibly get even worse? It's like I don't know. I don't know. They do keep making sequels to movies they really shouldn't. So I guess they could always find something stupid out of the hat.
yeah. And just to kind of rub it in everybody's face, if you weren't at the American Atheist Conference, but we were actually able to sit in with the Riff Tracks guys as they riffed on
That's
God's
right.
Not
Yeah, I
Dead.
remember Silverman was saying that.
Yeah, and it was awesome. Well, I had two favorite moments in the movie listening to these guys. The first one was when the main character kid and Kevin Sorbo are passing each other as one's going to the stage in order to put forth his argument, and like they both like talking for each one. One of them said dickweed, the other one said asshole, and
What?
then what was that?
A dickweed and asshole?
Yeah.
That's the, like that. That's the instance. Okay. That's like I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard people like really use those insults in a long time. I guess Sorbo must have had a hand in writing it then.
Yeah, I'm sure
Seems
he
like
did.
something he'd be like. I mean, seriously, it seems like something he'd be saying out of like Hercules, right? You dick. No, not dickwad, because that wouldn't be it. You asshole. Disappointed.
Well, the other part that I really liked was there's this point where a former Muslim girl is crying because she switched to Christianity and her parents kicked her out, and this
Just
woman
kicked her
comes
out.
by.
That's it. Huh.
Well, yeah, well, he like backhanded her and tossed her out of the house.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah.
dad did. So that sounds a
Oof.
little bit more correct, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, but I was like, she goes from Islam to Christianity. That's usually
Yeah. Um, but she's sitting there at this pastor's desk, and this woman comes over and sets down a small thing of tissues, right? And then they go, here's a little box of sympathy. Oh man, and
Oh man.
it was just great, the entire thing. So, but for
Yeah,
me, is
I don't know. Oh, sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
I was saying I don't know what I mean. Like how could they top the stupidity of the first movie where they had this horrible straw man of the atheist? I mean, how could how could they possibly top it? That's what I'm wondering. How could they? I mean, I guess there are many other straw mans and other stupid arguments that they think we use that we don't that they could trot out. So I guess there is plenty of fodder for a second one if
Yeah,
you're if you're apt to repeat those interesting little sound bites that the apologists keep having.
yeah. Well, see, the original book is actually more like a basic apologist guide. It's like if you can think of all of the horrible like apologist arguments, that is what the
Yeah.
book is.
Oh,
Um,
so it's like Slick's manual.
yeah, basically.
Uh,
um, But I think that the next one could be one of two things. Either he's debating against evolution because he's in a science class and they're trying to teach this lie of evolution, or
uh,
he's going to try to defend the historicity of Jesus or something like that. And against some new asshole that's like, no, Jesus doesn't exist, and I want you to write on a slip of paper that Jesus doesn't exist in what capacity, whatever.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. And I can definitely see the whole writing on a slip of paper too. That definitely would be in there because of that what was it? The one professor was it who told the students to write Jesus, and then they got all pissy because they were supposed to like stomp on it or some shit. And oh my god,
What?
there
I
it
didn't hear
was.
about this.
Oh, yeah, it was a while ago, but like a professor or a teacher or something got in trouble because they had the students write Jesus on a piece of paper and they're supposed to stomp it or they're supposed to disrespect the paper with the name, and like people got violently upset over the fact that they had to do it. It's like or were suggested to even do it. It's like, come on, what the fuck? Now you're acting retarded there.
Yeah.
Like blasphemy is a real thing.
uh, sorry, I had to read the next question.
Yeah, no problem.
So, kind of switching a little bit here. What do you think the next shitty movie that Kirk Cameron's gonna put out is gonna be?
Let's see. Next shitty movie that Kirk Cameron's going to put out. Um, he's deep in the forests of the Amazon hunting the crocoduck. He gone full on camo. But it'd be even better is Sterling Archer shows up and he's the one who guides him through the forest. But as he's guiding through the forest, he's freaking out and screwing with Kurt Cameron because he keeps looking for the telltale shimmer of Predator. That would be worth watching, actually.
Yeah. Well, and then at the very end of the movie, it pans away and it shows a live crocoduck, and it's like Kirk Cameron couldn't
Eating
find him.
him.
Oh, eating him.
No. It'd be better if he ate him. Like, Kirk Ham's like, ah, man, I can't find this crocodile. And he's like, at a pond and it's all like, serene music. Like, oh, and then the movie's over. Like, oh, wow. Damn, what a disappointment. And all of a sudden, a crocodile, bam! Fuck you, Kirk.
And the crocodile just walks away like my job is done.
Yep. And then everyone praises the crocodile for ending that blight on humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. um. Which kind of brings me to another set of questions. Is that well, do you think that there's anything in particular that Ken Ham has in his closet, like like a skeleton or something like that?
Ken Ham?
Yes.
I don't know. He just seems like a squirrely little motherfucker, right? Like he has something in his closet. You know it's something bad, but you just don't know what it is. And I don't know. Like I can't possibly think of what would be in his closet. Um, like I don't know what could possibly make his name even worse among us, right? Because like you have like Ted Haggard, who was found with, of course, the with meth, and found out to have a long term relationship, or was it, with a male stripper, a male escort, even though he denied it. So you have like that. I wonder what. And I'm not saying like that's a bad thing, but the fact that he's supposed to be this moral high ground, paragon, all this shit, and then he gets caught with this while he's espousing how bad it is. That's what I mean. So I don't know what Ken Ham would do. Like honestly, what would it be? Like he's found out that he's all doing it a con for money, but I mean that wouldn't be really big of a surprise, would it?
No, I mean, he's already putting out this idea that he was denied the 18 million from the state because of the pure fact that he's Christian, and like that's the only
Oh.
reason why.
Or how about that? There's no reason for you to get 18 million from the state to build that fucking ridiculous bullshit arc. What is it, a restaurant at the top of the arc? A restaurant. You know, I hope that I hope that he burn. I'm sorry. I hope that he builds it right, and they have a restaurant fire, and that entire goddamn thing goes up in flames. And they're like, well, we could flood the area, but then it might float away. You know, the worldwide flood and all.
Well, and just to like update everybody on his quote unquote progress, basically
Ugh,
he's just moved a lot of dirt around. Like that's literally it, and he's made some carvings of some animals. And
fantastic.
oh yeah, and I find it really hilarious that he's got like 21st century technology, but yet he's moving at the pace of Noah himself.
Yeah, right. Well, all that money that's supposed to go there has to go to other things, like keeping him in whatever uh type of luxury he enjoys. I mean, Jesus Christ, he has to be making enough money that he isn't exactly one of the starving people on the street.
Well,
I don't think that I mean I don't think there's too much in encouragement for him to get anything up and going really really quickly when he can continue to try to milk money out of people by playing a victim card or by things like that.
oh yeah, and he's playing that victim card hard right now too.
Oh yeah.
Um, and me personally, I feel that Ken Ham in his closet is a like basically a DNA analysis that's gonna basically say that he's a gorilla. Like, I'm sorry, Ken,
Oh man.
but your DNA is just so close. You're a gorilla.
How can you
You
say
just have
that?
a
How can
lot
you
less
say? How
hair.
can you possibly? How can you possibly say that you're close to an ape or you're a monkey? You're not. You're not the same. It's like, actually, yeah, we do share genetic similarities to a certain level. Uh,
It,
yes, we do.
it, I don't know if you've seen this meme, but somebody actually took Ken Ham and they slowly regressed him to an ape, and it's like not moving, like it's
Yeah,
hardly having to make any kind of change.
yeah. Like, I mean, seriously, if you're trying to like rally so hard against the idea that humans are apes, which whatever, or humans descended from apes, why the fuck would you continue with that facial hair like that? I mean, you look like Dr. Zayas's clone or some shit, right? Like when they didn't have enough money for the special effects, they would just kind of do like your face instead of doing the full on makeup.
Yeah, yeah. I've never heard of it referenced like that, but yeah, he looks like a Dr. Zayas clone.
I got a bad one too, right? Like,
Yeah.
ah, man, this one didn't come out right. I guess we'll release it on the population. He'll just start preaching to Christianity.
Okay, so now, what kind of skeleton do you think Ray Comfort could have in his closet?
Oh, wow, wow. Oh. I think the amount that he rallies against it, I think he might actually have homosexual tendencies. And again, that's not a bad thing. Whoever, you whatever you want, whoever you love, whoever you want to do whatever the fuck with, as long as you're consenting adult, I don't give a shit what you do. It's not my business. I think that the people who rally the most against it, who are so adamant, so hardcore against it, have just an air of projection, and they're hiding something about they're denying like part of them. That's just what I personally think. Uh, like I've never I've never had those type of stupid ass those thoughts like this person's bad because they are they feel this way or they're attracted to this type of person or that whatever their orientation is. I never subscribe to that type of thought, and I think people who are so hardcore about it, there's just something that is pushing that, and it's usually just some type of fucking hidden portion where they're trying to deny part of themselves.
Yeah, and there's actually some scientific data to back this up. I think that we still have to do some more research into it, but it just seems like the more homophobic you are, the more the more homosexual you seem to tend to be, or more turned on by homosexual images that you seem to
Yeah, wasn't there?
be.
Yeah, wasn't there a study that like they had people who were like really like hardcore homophobes, but they showed them certain images and they actually got an erection from it. So it's like there's a what people, and that's of course just one study doesn't conclude all things, blah blah blah. But it's like interesting that what people are saying and what their actual physiological, psychological response to things are. It's very telling.
Oh yes, very much so. And I mean, just and I've only done kind of a cursory look into like social behavior and whatnot, but when somebody's that fervently against it, you really have to like be skeptical. Like, are you sure you don't like dick?
Yeah, and like I said before, there's nothing wrong with appreciating the human form. That's what I don't like about people, and it's with them, and also with the extreme left. They have the same type of thing where they're so afraid of human sexuality, and they're so afraid of being human, that they shame what they don't consider normal, what they don't consider the right kind of sexuality for people to have, or the right, whatever. If they, that's, I mean, shit. What they do with all the statues, they chisel off the penises, they chisel off the clits, they covered them up with fig leaves. They desecrated art. They desecrated that time and effort that artists put in to make the replication of the human form that they were so admiring back then. They found this person, they thought this person, Jesus, this is a great representation of the human form, of human beauty. They took all this time and effort, and it takes so much. And you can easily fuck up a statue in marble and stuff too. One long chisel stroke and poof, there goes all your effort. So that the people who want to control everything about who you are, control your life, especially your private life, they're the ones who are always rallying against it. They're the ones who are always trying to censor it. And it's just trying to deny who you are, trying to deny human nature, and I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think that's right. There's nothing wrong with the human form. There's nothing wrong with admiring the human form in all aspects. Uh, shit, I watch Gladiator, right? And fuck, I think that the gladiators are fucking hot. I think they're goddamn amazing fucking form. Spartacus, I'm sorry, Spartacus. I watched Spartacus, and Jesus Christ, I wish I had the fucking muscles like that, guys. I used to be like that kinda in the army, but yeah, I watched that and I appreciate it. Not like, oh my god, holy, I'm disgusted by that. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I see. I can't remember which comedian said this, but like, somebody had said like, you start describing porn to your buddy or whatnot that's really homophobic. It's like, oh, okay, so I guess you like porns where the guy's got a really small penis and he's really limp dick and all this other stuff. And they're like, no, man, I like a rock hard, big, thick. Oh, crap, no.
Yeah. Oh, then like I'm sorry, we were talking about that a little bit, but there's like people, and I said like on it's the the opposite side. You have the right, the extreme right, where they're trying to push the religious ideology, and the extreme left, where they're pushing this totalitarian thought. They're pushing the other way of thinking, and that's one of the big things is again, human sexuality is bad. Porn is horrible because it's just a horrible representation of what is supposed to be a intimate moment, what's supposed to be beautiful, what's supposed to be so loving between two people. It's like, really, porn has existed for thousands of years and is going to continue to exist. And if you continue to try to deny human sexuality in all its forms and how it's portrayed, all you're doing is leading up to worse things because when you try to suppress that and you try to regress people back, it never ends well.
No. You end up with a lot of abusive people, people that
Very
take
true.
that those repressed feelings and like enact them out on people that can't defend themselves, like children,
True.
and
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
don't
you end up with people who are not healthy, are not displaying they're not displaying healthy attributes. Yeah, they don't have healthy outlets, so they choose unhealthy paths.
right. Um, so changing it up a little bit, um, what conservative Christian lawmaker do you think is going to come out gay next?
That's hard. I don't I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, the only one that I know who was like what Michelle Bachmann's husband, but he's is he even a lawmaker?
I doubt it, but I mean, I'd
Yeah.
still count that. I mean, honestly, I don't know, but Ted Cruz does kind of seem a little. Now, of
Yeah.
course, like we've been saying tonight, not that that's a bad thing. I just think that you
Yeah.
need to be honest about yourself, and
Yeah.
usually these people, they put themselves in these positions where they're apparently this higher moral authority, or they know from the higher moral authority that it's wrong or what the fuck ever.
And then yeah, and then there's always some aspect they try to hide about themselves that there's some deep dark secret that they don't want people to know that it's only a deep dark secret because they allow it to hold so much power over them. You know, it's just like the people who allow words to offend them so much. If I call you a cunt and you take offense at it, then you know what? T- oh well, it's just a word. If you're allowing it to have so much power over you, that's on you. And that's why intentionally why I'm using it too. Is because I know some in part the response you're going to get from it from using type of word like that. And before anyone says that, it's not a gendered insult. Cunt means it's just a despicable type of person, just a downright asshole. You don't want to be you. Actually, depending on the context, as to say, like if I say, "Hey, Godless and Jerry, what's up, cunt?" If I'm doing it in a nice, pleasant tone, like we're mates, then obviously it means like we're fellows. If you, it's all about context, I would say. So,
Yeah, and honestly, in my Facebook group that I have set up, when I originally started it, it really only had one rule, and that was don't be a cunt, right?
yeah,
And that ended up causing a lot of friction with people, and it caused some
uh,
people to leave because they were like, "That's such a misogynistic term," and I'm like, okay, and the thing was that they were being really hypocritical about it because
oh yeah,
in the same thread that they were complaining about the use of cunt, they would use dick in the exact same way, and they
right.
would be like, nope, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I noticed that a lot. It's yeah. I mean, that's why I'm talking about certain people on the left. I don't like where they're very hypocritical that way. It's just about censoring and about getting people to toe a certain line, which I don't agree with. I yeah, like you said, I don't care. I'm going to use the word. I've used the word cunt, like I got someone was let me see someone was upset because because teenagers were using the word rape. Like I'm gonna rape you in the video game, or I'm gonna, I totally got raped last night when you got fucked over in a video game, like that type of thing, right? And they're like, well, how can you possibly use in that context? You're just furthering rape cultures. No, no, you're refusing to look at the etymological origins of the word and the history of the word. There are multiple meanings to it, and it started off with to take by force, to seize, yeah. And if you look at the modern internet slang, where it's to destroy, to dominate, to like just to just completely fuck over, it's based on the original meaning of the word, which was to take by force, to destroy, to pillage, to plunder. And that's when like that, like if we do this separate fence, since I'm supposed to be a Viking, I joke all the time about raping the mountainside. Am I gonna go out there and fuck a tree? No, I'm going out there and I'm pillaging, destroying, and plundering that goddamn mountainside.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just so funny how you put that.
Yeah, it's like, I that's what I don't like about people, is that they allow such a knee jerk emotional reaction from things, and I refuse to allow what I say, my free speech, be curtailed by someone's feelings. If someone gets upset by something I said, then fine. You can tell me that you're upset, but it's not going to modify what I say. And you can tell me why it upsets you. I'll look at it and I will see. Maybe I should change my actions, but again, I think that you should be able to speak. You should be able to speak your mind. I think that there should be a free exchange of ideas, and everyone should be able to say what they want without censorship. When people agree with what they say or not is a different thing, but I don't think that people should be censored ultimately. Even as vile as, like, say, Jerry Falwell was, right? I still don't think that that asshole should have been censored.
Yeah. I would really have to agree because I think that if we are actually going to change, I guess, society for the better, uh, I think allowing that free speech to go on and allowing these people to make pretty much fools of themselves gives us the chance to really outwardly show, where our society is going. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I don't think the change should be mandated by the government. Is when I try to get at too. Is I don't think it should be forced on people. I don't think that you should be forced to adopt a certain type of view. No, definitely not.
Yeah, and the changes that really stick are the ones that happen naturally. And see, the thing about it happening naturally is that it happens slowly. And I think a lot of people they get impatient about it and they want things to change like really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They want them to change really fast, and a lot of things take a lot of it takes a lot of time. What is interesting is, of course, with what the Supreme Court's going to do in June in ruling on same sex finally, right? And you see all the scrambling reaction now, all this. Oh, well, we got to put all this shit in place to defend our religious freedoms, which means in the states where there are no laws against discrimination against certain groups, it means putting something there so they can discriminate under the guise of religious freedoms.
Yeah, and just to kind of stick with some current news issues, how
Yeah,
do you feel about the Florida law that is getting pushed through, where they can deny people being able to adopt kids based on any kind of religious or moral conviction that they have?
that's disgusting. That's exactly the type of shit they used to do back in the 60s and 50s, right? You
Oh
know,
yeah, and I mean like
that's
the
fucking
article.
disgusting.
Yeah, the article that I saw about it actually, like, it didn't even mention homosexuality or anything. It was like Florida bill will allow you to discriminate against black people, is what the headline said. And I'm like,
Jesus.
wait,
Yeah.
what? And there's actually a video
That's
where
sorry,
there's
go ahead.
actually a video out there that has a lawmaker standing up asking him, okay, if an agency wants to discriminate against all single moms and they don't want to give children over to single moms, can they use this bill in order to do that and just totally negate any single mom coming through? And the guy proudly says yes.
Why the fuck would you be proud of that?
I don't
That's
know.
that's just despicable. That's horrible. I mean, to be proud of a law where you can openly discriminate against people, that's a new low, honestly. And
Oh yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah, and I think and I even made a video about this when I first saw it today. But as an American, as somebody that lives in the United States, I am
yeah,
wholly embarrassed by how we've been basically trying to go back to the 1950s.
fuck
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
see,
exactly.
yeah, and I see this a lot in the atheist community as well.
Oh
People
yeah,
that are like, oh yeah, businesses should be able to discriminate based on any sort of thing. It's like, Where the fuck were you? I mean, there's an amendment to the Constitution that says that you can't discriminate based on certain things.
Right? Yeah. Uh, and I mean, every business has a right to refuse service. I mean, that's that's part of being a business owner is you don't have to serve every single person that comes in. You have the right to refuse service. If you're gonna do it, don't be fucking openly bigot about it. Don't be stupid about it. If you're gonna be so fucking hardcore in your backward ass belief, stop using it as the excuse. Just say, or I don't feel like doing this cake, or I don't want to do this cake, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. You stop trying to use your fucking like, no, I should be able to discriminate against these people, or I should be able to use my deeply held religious beliefs. Like, really, what deeply held religious belief is that? That God mandated that marriage is between one man and one woman? Because I'm pretty sure there were other arrangements in the Bible that you seem to be forgetting too, about the whole slave thing. If a person raped someone, they would marry them. Men could have sex with what is it? Men could have sex with their concubines. All these various things, right? That they seem to gloss over, and they say no. Is man and woman, one man, one woman, mandated by God, and so they use that as an excuse for all this type of shit.
Yeah, and what really pisses me off is how they half-ass, whenever they use these
Yes,
Bible verses, they half-ass it because
very
for
much so.
instance, Leviticus 20:13, right? They always stop just before the verse tells them to kill a motherfucker. I mean, it really astounds me that people would totally dismiss that part of it.
Oh
And
yeah, it's like, yeah, they keep on they keep on these backward ass illogical things, but they drop the very, very violent part of it, where you're supposed to stone the person, or you're supposed to kill them, or you're supposed to put a spear into them. They're supposed to stab them with, they leave off that violent part, but they continue with the other preaching part, the other parts of it, which is, okay.
and
The whole reason why it's so violent and stuff is because it was 2,000 years ago, when people were a little less civilized than they are now, or civilized.
oh yeah, and it always amazes me when they follow it up with, oh, but Christianity hasn't changed.
Yeah, sure it hasn't.
Yeah,
That's why. It's perfectly okay for them to take a person, tie a weight to them, and throw them out in the lake, and see if they fucking surface or not. Then they won't get in trouble anymore. It's perfectly okay.
well,
Here, at least.
I gotta be honest. When I was a kid, I would shoplift, and then I always felt better after I slaughtered a goat.
Right? You know, yeah. Uh, I gotta say, when I wanted to have sex with my wife, having to sacrifice those goddamn animals every fucking time got tedious.
Yeah, no. Thank God a guy killed himself in order to inconvenience himself for 3 days,
Right?
right?
Yep.
um. Okay, so to kind of round off, the show tonight, who's your
Yeah.
favorite author?
Oh, my favorite author would actually be Terry Goodkin. Sword and Truth series, actually.
Okay, what kind of books does he put out? Sorry, I've never heard of him before.
No problem. It's a fantasy book. Sword of Truth series. It's 14 books actually now.
Oh, cool.
It's about an alternate world, or alternate world that where magic really, it does still exist and stuff like that. It's a very, very interesting series. I think wizards, and all the normal fantasy things, wizards, witches, all that type of shit. But it has very interesting storylines. It has very very emotional storylines too. You really do feel for the characters in a lot of it. You identify very well with the characters. And I got hooked on the book as I was ETSing out of the service. And first read Wizard's First Rule, and I had to get the rest of the book since then. It's actually, I love this series. I think he's a great author.
Oh, awesome. Well, do you want to kind of promote any place that people can find you?
Well, I'm trying to get into actually doing videos. I'm working on one about that fuck stain. I mean, Furstein, or whatever, the Fat
Foreskin.
Waldo guy, Fat Waldo.
Yeah.
Yeah, foreskin. I'm working on a video of him because just how stupid he is, and just like seriously, how can you ignore what happened last October when you're in the goddamn state? But he is a former televangelist. Of course, he's going to ignore the shit that's right in front of his face. Evidence
Yeah.
is right in front of his face, right?
Yeah.
Blindingly, glaringly obvious evidence in front of his face. Of course, he's going to ignore it. That's what his bread and butter, ain't it?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so I'm working on them, and you have the URL there. It's YouTube/Kvasir's Mead. So I'm working on actually putting out some videos instead of. I mean, I last time I put them out, I think in September.
okay. Well, yeah, and in case you don't know, he's actually had Foreskin. He's had two failed ministries before he
Oh,
got internet famous. His parents work at the Mayo Clinic, and he lives at one of his daddy's houses.
so his parents work at the Mayo Clinic. He lives at his daddy's house. He had two failed ministries. Well, see, I didn't know that because I really think he's just an obnoxious human being. So I tried to avoid him as much as possible. Unfortunately, he pops up because of just how absolute stupid he is. But people like share his message as if he's some type of prophet or wisdom or wisdom. God damn it, wise man. Sorry.
Well, I might.
So it's like I try to avoid him as much as possible, and then he pops up, and then his just like the stupidity that he displayed in that. I'm sorry, I keep using the word stupidity, but the lack of awareness he displayed in that video, and just the downright dishonesty, and just I don't know, everything about that video just made me want to actually do a response and just how bad it is.
Yeah. And I was just gonna pitch this out there that you might want to look into. I did a video last August called Furstein's Fraudulent Funding, and it's on my channel. And basically, in the video I show how he's got a $400,000 house. He's got all these watches and shoes and nice clothes and shit, and then and then of course he's e-begging for that camera, but he's already
Oh
using the
yeah,
camera
yeah.
as
Yeah, that's
he's
$20,000 for a camera that never appeared, right? Although I'm pretty sure his waist has gone up. I know where that fucking money went.
yeah.
As
Well,
I say, yeah, $400,000 house, the watches, the clothes, everything. You know that, yeah, and you know he's not skipping a meal. I mean, for fuck's sakes, right?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I think that I don't know. I showed it to Seth Andrews actually that video, and he was like, "Nice work on the video," and I'm like, "Oh shit."
That's nice. Yeah, that's a good That's a nice compliment. That's nice praise. Seth was a cool guy. I enjoyed talking to him too. I enjoyed listening to his podcast too. Yeah, he definitely has a way of telling a story, and of course, coming from that Christian radio broadcasting, that voice he has, and that demeanor, and that mannerism, everything is yeah, it's just so nice to listen to him talk. You can listen to him drone on forever, actually.
Yeah, and if anybody's watching that is interested in the subject of this internet pastor guy, Seth Andrews has a video talking about his whole Red One thing, and I'd suggest going and watching it because he does a pretty good job of laying out the doubts that really surround Feuerstein at this point. And he might be facing criminal charges, so I guess we'll figure out.
Hopefully he will be.
Yeah,
And I don't say that because like no, I'm gonna retract that. I say that because I really do hope. What he did was despicable. To put it online and to invite hatred to a bakery that did nothing wrong, that did the right thing, in an effort to be this self-righteous jackass. He deserves everything he gets from it. I think that he should. I think the state of Florida should go after his ass with the full extent, and I think that the bakery should go after his ass to the full extent because they can. They both can. They can get a civil and a criminal lawsuit against him.
oh yeah, and
And that's
he's taking.
yeah, that's that's one of the things I was going to point out in the video is that in preparation for doing other, like I was working on another video when the one with Furstein, I had the idea of doing it, and I recorded a phone call, but I checked the wiretapping laws before I did it, and in the state I called, it's one party, just like Arizona. That's where he fucked up. Florida is two party. Florida is a two-party state, and if you don't have permission, you are fucked. That is a felony.
Yep, sure is. I've also got a video on my channel where I show a map of all the one party and two party states. So if you want to go and check that out, please do.
Good
It's
idea.
pretty easy
Very
to
nice.
find on. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
easy to
yeah. I mean,
find
it's
on the
easy to
internet.
find.
So
Yeah, let's see, DMLP, I believe. That's where I found my information. Then RCFP, I think, is like two different websites for reporters and also for just digital media for you to, all it takes is like 5 second Google search.
yeah. Well, it's really ironic because Forrestein he'll Google and read like facts that Google puts out for you, with their quick view that they've got going on, and he'll be able to read that, but yet he can't think far enough to actually do some actual googling. Like actually investigate shit. It's pretty bizarre in my opinion. I really don't think that there's something right with this guy. I mean, I think that
No.
he's got a skeleton in his closet that's going to be just massive, like news.
Oh, yeah, there's something. I mean, Jesus, like what? He has okay, he said he had failed ministries twice, lives with his daddy, which, okay. But, daddy has the money so he can bail him out, which means that he obviously had, yeah, I mean, he got bailed out by his dad. So there's something there that's going to be like, oh shit, what the fuck? Like the people who like him and that follow him and think he's, spreading the truth and the good word, it's going to be something that they're going to go like, wow, what? Why am I listening to this guy? And that's
Well,
usually the case, isn't it?
yeah, and he's got over 1 million people on his page now.
Are you kidding me? Well, I
No,
hope he has 1 million followers when he lands asses in jail. I hope he's yeah
yeah,
take
well,
take some
yeah,
advice from Kent Hovind to how to survive in there.
yeah, but you'll never get. When he started his whole Joshua Feuerstein page,
When's that?
April 2014.
That's it.
Yes.
Wow, that's like yeah, that's right after I joined the Skeptic Fence, I believe.
Yeah. Well, and I point this out because of the fact that it's not because his message is good or that a lot of people really agree with his message that it's really getting, spread. That's not it. What it is that he's got enough money to put into Facebook in order to get his reach to be so large. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and so a lot of people are like, you're just feeding him, or you're doing free advertising for him. You need to stop. It's like, no, he does his own advertising. He pays for it. There's like nothing that I can do is going to boost him any more than that fucking wallet that he has.
yeah. Yeah. I always wondered, like, I mean, how could I didn't think that people. I didn't think there were that many people that really believed it because we're talking about the extreme of the Christians, right? The extreme rhetoric where they really believe this shit instead of just kind of believing it, which is most what moderate Christians now. We have these extreme people that really believe this backwards ass thing. So I didn't think there were too many people. I mean, yeah, but they do flock on the internet. People always flock together on the internet. But it did always seem fishy to me, especially. I mean, if you're talking about how he has money on Facebook, yeah, it's real easy to to get boosted and get bumped up thanks to yeah their shady dealings with paying for advertisement.
Oh yeah. Um, and so yeah, so his message isn't good or anything, and he's pretty much
No.
just using Facebook to get famous. That's why he posts
Wow.
everything on Facebook.
Well, he got his wish. He's famous now. He's famous. He broadcasts on the internet. He broadcasts the felony over the internet for the world to see. And I'm going to rebroadcast the video minus the felony part because I'm not going to go into jail for broadcasting his felony.
It's a good idea. Um, but Okay, so anyways, let's just go ahead and wrap it up. I really appreciate you coming on to the show and giving me an hour and a half of your time and
I appreciate
talking
you
and
having me, man.
everything. Oh yeah,
I appreciate it, man. It's been fun talking with you.
yeah, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me so long to actually get you on the show. It's just shit's been crazy.
No, no, man. Like, no, not at all. I understand with that shit. I know how crazy it could be with trying to schedule things, with trying to get everything done. I mean, hell, just trying to do these videos alone. I was up for like 3 days straight trying to do graphics, and it screwed with my mind. So I understand it completely.
All
Plus,
right.
it's
Well,
not like I'm a major player.
yeah. Well, are there any parting words that you want to leave our audience with?
Uh, fuck censorship.
There you go.
I mean, that's the gist of it. I fuck censorship. I've always thought that since I was a teenager. I fuck it. I hate people who try to instill censorship. Hate people who try to self censor, try to force people to go along with something. So fuck censorship. Just speak your mind. I mean, what's the worst can happen? You're gonna get someone who yells at you, and that's happens all the time.
Awesome. Well, everybody, I hope you have a nice night, day, weekend whenever
Oh yeah.
you are watching this. And as always, remember to think skeptically and stay godless.